everyone, it's me, Lisa, and today we're up for another book review. Once upon a time, I received this book and I'm ready to review it. I reviewed the previous one, The Love Hypothesis by this author, and I criticized it so much. So I'm very interested to see how this review will go. So without any further ado, let's get down to the review. So, The Love on the Brain. First and foremost, I really don't understand the title. The title for me makes no sense. Like, literally, it's okay, she's smart, but like the previous character, she was smart, and in this case I didn't really get that. And for talking about the previous characters, do you see here some similarity between this and this? Yeah, except for the pink hair and the piercings, we have basically the same two characters. She is very on the fence about getting into a relationship, and she is really pushing him away. He has a crush since when he was in high school, and since then he was never able to get with someone because of her and because he loved her. And so I don't know, it really seemed that the two of them were the same characters in just a different setting. They were a bit older, because I felt that in the previous one she was a student and he was the teacher, but here we have two former students that were in two different classes, and she believes that he hates her so much. But the thing is that the book drags on and on and on with these concepts, and I didn't like that, because it felt like she really wanted to push that thing forward, as if she was forcing him to hate her, even though he didn't. She completely misinterprets everything that he does, like in the previous book, miscommunication trope. Oh well, so much of it, and too much of it, because we have had it in the previous book, and the difference between the two books is really not impressive at all. We have the same story. The two characters are perhaps a little funnier, and since we don't have the fake dating trope, thanks God, we have a better story in my mind. For me, this story was a bit better, because with the premise that they hate each other, which is not actually true, so we cannot even call it a haters to lovers relationship, because they don't hate each other. Like, he doesn't hate her at all. And the camera didn't really register half of the video that I was registering the first time, so I tried to mimic basically everything about my look the past time. I'm looking less fresh, but we hope that the review will be good. Anyways, we were talking about this enemies to lovers trope, and that it doesn't really exist. And another big theme of this novel is the tending to make it as We Got Mail. We Got Mail is the beautiful movie where Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks do pretend to be two librarians. They are one against the other, and she starts mailing with this guy, and he discovers that she is her and she doesn't know that he is him, and so they keep emailing each other, and he basically knows that they are the two that are talking, and so he pretends not to know on the chat and makes her fall in love in the meantime by making her see that he is not actually such a douchebag as she believes. So the whole story is beautiful, because there's one of them that knows and the other one doesn't know, and so this opens to a lot of potential of irony itself, because we all know that he knows but she doesn't know, and it's great. On the contrary, here she doesn't know and he doesn't know, and it doesn't add anything to the plot. Like, literally, it's completely pointless and it makes no sense because they are talking to one another about this love that they feel for each other. He talks about her, telling her that he loves her so much, and she doesn't realize that he's talking about her, but that doesn't add a single thing to the plot, because after a very short amount of time they start having sex. The dramatic tension has no place in this book because they are already together. So what's the point of making the whole scene of "we got mail" if it ends up adding nothing to the plot? Don't know. They wanted to have something poetic and great like "we got mail," which is one of the best romances that I've ever seen, and ended up being completely pathetic and unnecessary. So that was a good one to add. And another thing that we got is that, like in every book of Ali Hazelwood, we have those super intelligent characters that are so dumb about love. They don't know anything about love. They know so much about science. They are working at NASA or doing incredible things, and then when it comes down to love, they are the dumbest people that I've ever seen. And she has trust issues that don't make sense in the whole lot of the book, because she has an incredible amount of trust issues with him when it comes to being together. So she is completely diffident with him, she doesn't want to be together, and she has this whole thing about her of past relationships that were bad, and so she doesn't even allow herself to have cats because she will be too sad when the cat dies. And then when strange things start to happen in the lab, with documents going missing and things happening that make the whole project go to shreds, she is completely trustworthy of everyone else around her, making the whole blame full on technological issues, or not thinking that anyone in there is gonna think to go against the project, which is incredibly insane. It's so weird because you have trust issues that go above and beyond. You don't want to be with people, don't trust them, and you make a hell out of the relationship that you have with the dude, and then when it comes to your life, you are the most trustworthy person there is. You trust everyone around you and you love them. How does this go together with the other side of yourself? I really cannot figure it out, because it really doesn't make sense, because it's not coherent. We don't have a coherent plot. Then we have him. He is the quintessential great guy, and as I said, there's an incredible similarity between this dude and this dude down here, but apart from that, they seem to be exactly the same person, even in personality, because they don't have flaws. They are so unrealistically great that it's so hard to believe, because we have this wonderful story about him being the quintessential good guy that does understand her, that does cover her in compliments and love, and when she keeps telling him, "Oh, you hate me," he is always not explaining himself, as always, miscommunication trope, and just going with the flow and not complaining, just to end up having this whole "oh, I loved you since the beginning of time" thing that is completely the plot of the other book as well. And yeah, we don't have flaws, and this is a problem for me because they don't seem like realistic characters. He could have had a flaw that has nothing to do with how good of a person he is. So something like, I don't know, being petty or having other problems, which he doesn't have. So we have this great person all the way through, whereas she is the quintessential clumsy and the quintessential "I'm always wrong" person, super insecure. And I didn't like that either, because apart from being the exact same as the plot of the other book, so the love hypothesis, we have this character that is too flawed. Here we have too many flaws, and in the guy we don't have enough flaws, because even the physical appearance of the guy is incredible, stunning. All of these people that Ali Hazelwood talks about are incredibly great, super tall, super muscular, incredible, even though they are scientists. So you wouldn't really think about a scientist being the sexiest person on earth that does go to the gym and stuff like that, or at least if you look at a documentary, you don't really see scientists like that. But let's say that of course they could exist, but every single scientist that we get in these books has no physical flaws. I am puzzled about this. So yeah, it was a slightly bit better of the previous book, The Love Hypothesis, because it made me laugh. And this in itself was a positive thing. I liked the fact that she was kind of a different character in physical appearance, with the piercings and the pink hair, and the plot made me kind of want to keep reading, so I gave it 3 stars instead of 2, but we don't have as much of an improvement that I would say, oh my god, it's the best romance ever, because it's not. It's put together with a copycat of the previous book, copycat ideas of other great stories. It's like if you took Pride and Prejudice and decided to do an enemies to lovers that ends up being so bad in comparison, it really pales in comparison to something like Pride and Prejudice. Then you take We Got Mail and do a very, very poor comparison with this book, where you have the same exact trope but done terribly, and you take your previous book, you copy it over in another document and add some elements. And that's exactly what I think this is. So if you're looking for a good romance, this is not the one for me. There are much better ones out there. Keep searching, because this one is not the one, I do think. So I hope that you enjoyed my ranting bad review like the previous one. If you want to see me ranting about The Love Hypothesis, the video will be somewhere up here and in the link down below. And I really hope that you will decide to stick around, subscribe to the channel, and I really hope to see you all in the next one. Bye guys!